Welcome, everybody, to Inside the Den, your weekly podcast for Wallace State Athletics. My name is Drew Wilson. I'll be your host for all these episodes. This will be your weekly stop to catch up with all things Lion Athletics, whether it be results from games, what's coming up, interviews with coaches and athletes. This will be the place to get all your Lion Athletics news. We look forward to having you, whether you're an alumni, fan, student athlete, potential student athlete, anybody interested in Wallace State Athletics. We hope you join us each week to get all your Lion Athletics information. So let's get started. It's December 1, so we have concluded all fall sports, and what a successful fall we had this year at Wallace State. Our flag football team finished the year with a perfect 20-0 record, ACCC champions. Player of the Year, Emma Kyle, and Taylor Kindred was the tournament MVP, along with Coach Daniel Howard was named the Coach of the Year, who you'll hear from later in this episode. This was the inaugural year for flag football, and what a year it was. Our men's soccer, also a brand new program this year at Wallace State, finished the year also as ACCC champions, 11-2-4 overall record, 6-0-2 in conference, unbeaten in conference play, unbeaten on the road. Did have a couple of ties. So a great year for first-year head coach James Fee. And what a exciting year they had. 42 goals scored on the year. So a high-powered offense along with a defense that they carded 5 shutouts for the year. Emmerich Senecal, their goalkeeper, won Player of the Year. And that concluded they finished their play in the NJCAA regional with a defeat to Georgia Military College, and weren't able to advance beyond that. But what a successful first year for James Fee, and we'll hear from him on a future episode as well. Our cross-country men and women both won the ACCC regional meet and participated in the NJCAA national competition in some of the coldest weather I've ever seen in my life for somebody to run in. So we will also in some of these future episodes sit down and visit with Tony Kreider, who's our second-year head coach of the cross-country program. Volleyball was our last fall sport. Battled an injury-ridden season, finished 25-7, 11-5 in conference play, and a third-place finish in their conference as well. What a year. Got off to a great start with volleyball. Really couldn't get off to the finish that they wanted due to some injuries and some other things, but really what a gutsy year from Coach Daniel and those girls to finish the way that they did through all kinds of adversity. Now the sports that are currently in action. Our women's basketball team took this past week of Thanksgiving off, but they're off to a 7-0 start, ranked in the top 10 in the country, and looking to play 2 more at home that we'll get into later. Men's basketball spent Thanksgiving in Pensacola, Florida, playing in the premier junior college event for men's basketball. Played 3 back-to-back top 25 opponents. Were unable to come away with a victory in any of the 3. Were able to force overtime on the road to the host team, Pensacola State, but came up just a little short in all 3 games. They will get back to the friendly confines of Tom Drake Coliseum and Traditions Bank Arena later this week, and hope to get back to going. So a strong start to Wallace State, another year across the board, and plenty more to come there. We will get to all that stuff. But first, we want to go to our Voices of the Pride segment. And we sat down, we got a chance to catch up with Coach Daniel Howard shortly after his season concluded to talk about the year that they had and what a great season it was, and recap some of the exciting moments from their season and how that went. So we will throw that now to our Voices of the Pride and Coach Daniel Howard. Okay, here with Daniel Howard, coach of the Wallace State flag football team, the 20-0 flag football team that fastest growing sport maybe in the world right now, flag football. and really invested a lot. But um, welcome, Daniel. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Um. So let's go back before we get into 20-0 and the conference championship and all the things that were accomplished this year. Um. Let's go back because you were at Wallace. You were here, um, working in kind of the more administrative role, and we get into starting flag football, and um, you're becoming you're going to become the coach. You decided to become the coach, and you start the program. So take us into getting that program off the ground, and getting that started.
Sure. I think it was announced about 18 months ago that we are going to start flag football in our conference, the ACC conference in Alabama. Um, we just started having meetings, and all of a sudden it just started growing so fast that showcases were popping up, and uh, they wanted a representative from each school to be at these showcases, and I started being there for Wallace, and started thinking, when I was going to these showcases, talking to these recruits that, I had played many years down in Florida, coached a couple years already in the past, and um, I just happened to be a blessing, being right place, right time, really. And what started as a hobby for me, just loving flag football, now I get to coach it, and it's just been just the biggest blessing. So
Yeah, and so for everybody listen, you played flag football right after high school and with a college group and kind of got started coaching down there before in Florida in the Florida area, huge place for lots of flag football tournaments. Weather's always great, so great place to go down there. So kind of tell us a little bit about your background with flag football before kind of moving up this way.
yeah, really, it started right when I moved out to Florida for college. Went to a big old church down there, and a bunch of just guys want to play ball. And, we're all competitive, and we found out like the Pensacola area has some tournaments and some leagues, so we all just kept signing up for these tournaments, and we start getting better each year and start winning these little championships there. And looking back, when you're in it, you don't realize how the great a competition that we had back then. A lot of guys that were former college football players. Most teams are covered in guys like that, and just how fast those guys were down there. But it was fun. We play over a decade down there, and then the same youth group that I was at. We start touching up a high school team down there, so it was fun. Coaching kids to do the same thing that we loved doing down there, and moved up here to Alabama and coached some upward flag football up here. So just I didn't just never really realized I kept being part of the sport before it was announced to be a sport in our conference. And um, but I mean, like you said earlier, it's just booming. The NFL's backing all this up. I can't turn on ESPN without seeing something flag football being aired now. So one of our grants, our sponsors was the NFL, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm excited to see how fast this. I mean, how big it's getting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe probably the fastest growing sport in the country right now. I said it already, but you mentioned so we get started this year. We thought we had ended up with 7 schools in the conference. Got a grant from NFL Flag to really help with a lot of the costs of starting a program. So uniforms, footballs, flags, all the you know even down to chain markers and down markers and paint for the fields, like all those things. So we got a big grant from NFL Flag to help with all that stuff. But and then we get there and you start recruiting. Now you're the coach and we start recruiting and you have to kind of sell a dream and um sell an idea that we're starting flag football without really anything tangible for proof. So talk us through how you went about, securing some of the great players that we're gonna talk about in a minute that you had.
Uh, so before I was even announced the head coach of flag football, I had gone down to the state championship this past season and just watching it just as a fan and just excited to see this sport take off. My quarterback that I ended up getting in Macau was from Moody High School, and I was down there on the field watching them play their state championship last year, and just knew that she was a good athlete. Kind of just already looking at who was probably the top recruits for the following season, because we had talked about getting flag football, and I was just going to try to help out here at Wallace, just help build a program before I realized I was going to be the coach. But Really, it all started kind of with Emma, getting her up here recruiting and get her, the sell the dream to her up here, and she's just been a huge blessing. I mean, she's top notch athlete, great student, just be out, much more smart than her, 18, 19-year-old self. I mean, she's gonna go places for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's flag
So
football.
yeah, so Emma Kyle was a, as you were talking about, she was the player of the year. She was she was the best quarterback by far, and anybody that didn't get the chance to see her play, sounds like she was getting her. She kind of had a name, so we kind of got her. There were a lot of receivers who wouldn't want to play with a great quarterback like her, and so it sounds like she really helped you kind of put the team together as well.
Yeah,
It was a real piece to build around.
seeing a girl throw 50 yards is, she's a softball player, but just sitting back there and throwing the ball 50 yards. When I went to her signed at Moody High School, some of the teachers are talking about she's the greatest female athlete that ever came from that school. That's a pretty big school. So,
Yeah.
and the thing about Emma, most people don't realize too, she helped start that program there. So she was a softball player, just started watching flag football, really wanted to play. And so I think her softball coach told her she helped recruit some players and they'll start it. So she did. She went there and got the players at Moody and help start the flag football team. And the first year they got a state championship.
Yeah. Sounds like Emma Kyle might be our next guest. So let's go there. We got Emma Kyle wins Player of the Year. You guys go 18-0 and in the regular season. Tell us kind of at what point. I know it's a new deal. We don't know where everybody's at. So tell us kind of at what point during the year did you really know that you guys had a chance to be special?
Yeah, so after Emma, I went down to Hoover, started recruiting some ladies down there. Got a couple of great stars down at Hoover, and it just was like the big schools of Thompson's, Spain Park, kind of when you recruit this first year, the other teams and coaches, you didn't know who they had, like we just kept on recruiting. But it wasn't until game one, really. The final to game one, we beat Snead 48-0, and just watching that game, you realize I recruited well, but just how fast my girls were and then, we worked hard all for day one at practices. I think we had to move 2 or 3 different fields to practice to get until we got our field ready. But these girls work hard. We battled every day, offense, defense. I mean, so we didn't realize when we battle each other at practice, offense and defense, we're really probably battling the best offensive defense in the states.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we go 18-0 regular season. We get down to Dothan in the conference tournament, and this is it. This is the Super Bowl. We kind of talked. We'll kind of outline that a little more, but this is it. This is what we worked all year for. Those we played for. That same Snead team you just mentioned, beating your team, or your team beat 48-0 early in the year, and now that team's obviously much improved, and so now talk us through that game, because that one really pressed your team to the brink.
Yeah, they did. Snead did a good job. When we first played these teams the first time, they didn't have film on you, so the second time you play on, you got film now, and they did a good job adjusting to us. But yeah, down there in the playoffs, it was strange because Snead had played Bishop early that day, and they struggled. I mean, I think Snead scored the last minute to win that game. And so you get down there, and it's almost anybody's game, really. And the Snead game is just back and forth. I know Snead finished fourth, I think, at the conference, but they finished strong. So I felt like going down there, they might be the second best team. And they matched up well with us. So I knew it was going to be a good game. And I didn't know it was going to be that close. Back and forth the entire game. We could not pull away. Got down. They scored with less than a minute to tie the game, and they had a chance to go for one to win it. And we luckily stopped them and went to overtime. And the first overtime, we get the ball first, and Emma throws a pick, and they almost ran all day for a touchdown to win the game. And luckily, we got the flag and got the stop. But just back and forth, all the overtimes. We stopped them on that first overtime as well. Our defense came up strong. Uh, Second overtime, we mirror each other. We score. Third overtime, we score, get the extra point, and then they scored, and we stopped it. Taylor Kendrick, who ended up being the tournament MVP, she got a huge pick at the end to win that game for us. And I know we played Sunday for the championship, but that game Saturday night was something I'll never forget. I think I lost a couple of years of my life in that game.
Yeah, definitely one of those moments when you're playing and you get to that point. There's always moments in the season that you point to, and sometimes they're in the tournament, sometimes they're not, but definitely one of those moments where your team had to dig deep. And you mentioned Taylor, and she goes on and she gets that pick and has a good game against Bishop and goes on to win tournament MVP for the state of Alabama, and did a great job as well. So for everybody, so right now, the ACCC plays our flag football season in the fall as conditions of some of it with the NFL money, some of it with other money. We're playing in the fall, which is opposite of when the actual NJCAA season is. So for now, that's as far as counting games that for our team, that was it. We've won everything that we can win. So now kind of tell us what's next. We everybody knows we live. So what's next? What's the next thing that on the list for flag football at Wallace State?
Yeah, so in the spring, we'll play a couple games. I think we got Alabama State we're gonna play them in April. A couple of other teams we're gonna try to get down in Florida. Maybe a tournament or two we're gonna try to get into. Hopefully a big one so we can try to see how far we can go. Play like a USA tournament. But man, the recruiting, I was at a high school last night, show up, and there's still like 3 other coaches there already recruiting. So, we just finished our season, but man, it's, we all know, I mean, it starts with the recruiting. And so, but no, there's no off season.
It's a nonstop deal to get the best players and keep the best players. Tell us what else can we do to help support flag football or kick things off for you?
Yeah. With flag football, it seems like it's growing double each size in high schools. In the high schools, there's still certain areas that don't really have flag football yet. So I'm hoping more schools around these areas and throughout Alabama will start the high school flag football. But recruiting, I'm not just recruiting just flag football girls. Some of my girls never played before this year and ended up being all conference players for me this year. Mostly some basketball players, track. So most of your flag football girls play multiple sports, and it just makes them a great talented athlete. And but yeah, softball, a lot of them end up being softball players. They'll kind of play both. In the fall, they'll play in high school. They'll play flag football in the fall, and in the spring play softball. In Alabama high school, most of your softball coaches, or maybe like the assistant softball coach, is your head flag football coach. So I'm excited to see that grow.
Mm-hmm.
NFL recently announced they're going to start a professional flag football league before the Olympics.
Yeah.
It starts in 28. So, these ladies are excited about this growth, and, they know the sky's the limit right now. And it's exciting, watching a sport give these ladies an opportunity to go professionally.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's a great deal. Sounds like, anybody interested in flag football is definitely, like I said, the fastest growing sport that we've got going here, and love to get you involved. We'll get Coach Howard's email on the screen for anybody interested in playing and competing in flag football. I think he'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to anybody, even if you're just an athlete interested in it. We'd love to talk to you. Appreciate your time today, Daniel. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Now let's take a look at what's next in the Den. Your preview of the week to come. Men's basketball has 2 home games. Tuesday, December 2nd versus Gordon State at 6 p.m. inside Traditions Bank Arena. And Friday, December 5th, men's basketball will host likely nationally ranked East Mississippi at 6 p.m. as well. Women's basketball will be on the road for 2 games. One at Volunteer State on Wednesday, December 3rd at 5 p.m. in Gallatin, Tennessee. And Saturday, December 6th, women's basketball will be at Chattanooga State at 1 p.m. in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Men's basketball will continue action the following week, Monday, December 8th, with a rematch at Snead State in Boaz, Alabama. Tip time for that one scheduled for 7 p.m. If you're local, come on out, support the Lions, and follow us on social media for live updates of all the games. That wraps up this edition of Inside the Den. Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to follow us on all social media for continual updates. Find us by searching Wallace State Athletics. Check back next week on Spotify or YouTube, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, I'm Drew Wilson, and this has been Inside the Den. Go Lions.